This is Anime We Watched. Last week we watched My Hero Academia with Emma 5. Please go check out that episode. It was a blast and a half, and we had a bunch of special guests. We had Kevin, Danny, and Danny. Two Dannys for the price of Danny. And we got to hear their thoughts. And actually, one of said Dannys is joining us today to talk about Akira.
There has been talk of live action adaptation since basically I've been alive.
Now, indefinite hold. Taika Waititi was attached. We don't know if he's not anymore, but he is now going to go do Thor 4, a.k.a. Thor.
Yeah. God bless that. I'm very excited for Thor 4. Thor. But, and while I think Taika Waititi his visual stylings would have been very good for this, I can't imagine he would have been a good fit for this movie. In that, his movies have depth to them and they have serious moments, but they are not serious movies. And anime fans do not take this stuff lightly.
No, they don't.
And so I think I can't imagine he would have been able to tackle this material without making fun of it in a certain way. And I can't imagine people would have responded well to that.
Danny M in the chat says, has anyone ever seen the movie Lucy? I think it got a lot of inspiration from Akira. Yes,
that's
definitely did.
Luc Besson.
Well, it is. That makes sense. Which I don't know if I totally like everything he's done, but that's a director I could see attached to this. I could also see, not saying I want to see this, a Zack Snyder attached to like an Akira movie.
It would look perfect. It would look perfect.
Mm-hmm. And I think it would miss. I think it would just from my experience with his movies, it would miss the point of what Akira is trying to say about so many things.
I think a Christopher Nolan would do really well.
You'd
want somebody, I would think, that would have a brand enough on their own that they could kind of do it quote unquote right. Because I think you should probably keep it set in Tokyo. At least your three leads should be Japanese or Japanese American, Kaneda, Kei, and Tetsuo. You can make it more international. I think there is merit in it. People always get kind of up in arms about that, but I think there is merit because a lot of anime stuff is very Japanese. Like they're not very diversified in that, barring I think an Attack on Titan or a Gundam. So I think there's room to make it more diverse. But at least your three leads. You know what I mean? And it should be R. It should be R. Like if a studio's trying to float this around and be like, well, maybe if we made a PG-13, don't bother. You're just gonna have another Ghost in the Shell on your hands. You know what I mean? And what you want, not that the fan base is going to be big enough to make your numbers, but I think one thing that Marvel was really smart about figuring out the MCU is that that's free advertising. If you make those fanboys happy, that's free advertising. Those are your proselytizers. They're going to get out there and tell everybody. They're the ones that lean over and explain what that Thanos tease at the end of Avengers is. You know what I mean? So you want those people in your corner. And the good news is, though, with the whole manga available, there are ways to flesh this out and do it differently while staying true to the source material. Anyway, so I think that would be cool, but I don't know who, unless somebody like a Christopher Nolan wanted to do it. I'm hard pressed to think of somebody that maybe is a shame because like maybe a younger Steven Spielberg.
Maybe. I think Christopher Nolan, honestly, based on current directors that have a great name, like right now, that have a lot of faith, have done a lot of original properties that have done very well.
Yeah.
I think Christopher Nolan is like on the money. Because I'm like, oh wait, he's never done an adaptation. I'm like, what are you talking about? He did three Batman movies.
He did 3 Batman movies. Yeah. He knows where to get his money.
Arguably, I think there's a lot of liberties he took with some of these characters, but there are inspirations.
Yeah.
I think he could do a lot of good with this, ground it in a way that it kind of needs to be, because this should feel otherworldly when it reaches the point that it does.
Yeah.
You should, and he did Interstellar. You go to the fifth dimension and he's moving, using gravity to move time around. And you're like, okay, he has the bandwidth to tell a story that's this big.
Would you guys? Let me ask you guys, Danny. Would you want to see a live action adaptation?
Man, that's a tall order, even for a director. If you get like Christopher Nolan, I mean, trying to get scenes, and it's not going to be scene for scene, obviously, but still, it's like you have to tell the story of a small biker gang. Then it gets bigger and bigger, like you were saying, DJ, throughout the movie, and it's like, how do you transition that to honor the source material? Because I know a director isn't constantly thinking that, but it's on the back burner for sure. He's got to do this in a way that's going to, take care of the hardcore fans that pleases them.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it can be pulled off, but if anybody's going to do it, I'll watch a Nolan version of that for sure.
Caitlin, how about? I mean, in your head, even if you're not super interested, do you think like a Christopher Nolan can kind of pull this off? In your opinion?
Yeah. I'm going to throw another name out there. I think there's another director that could possibly do this in a way that would make me care about it.
Yes, please.
And I think
thank
it would
you.
be David Lynch.
Ooh.
Yeah, as long as he could do, as long as they give him the leash, because I think the last time he did like a big budget was Dune, and then he kind of swore off that after
He did
that.
Dune?
He did Dune.
Yeah.
You said David Lynch, and I'm like, I shook my head, and David Fincher was in my
No.
Yeah.
Although
Now
David
I know
Fincher
who-
actually would be good too. David Fincher would do a good job.
Hey, who knows? But
I also want to throw out real quick Gareth Evans, who did The Raid, and he also did Apostle, which is on Netflix, and he also did when I think about a good use of like escalation is in VHS 2. He did my favorite short in that, which is another good example of it starts off you're like, oh, this is bad as it's going to get, and it just keeps finding new levels of bad until you're in your full nightmare scenario.
And also, he was the one who was signed on to the Deathstroke movie for a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, that would be really
please
cool.
and thank you.
And when it comes to violence, I feel like he could pull it off. Also, not that I need fight scenes in this, but like I wouldn't mind.
You wouldn't mind it?
The Benjamin Bottom kids, put those up for a second. Yeah, have those guys throw a couple punches. I want to hear from Brenda, Jimmy, and Kate.
It was really well made. I thought that it was an interesting look into themes that I'd seen throughout a lot of the anime that I've watched, but it's cool kind of to see where some of that originated and where it started.
The voice acting is amazing, both subbed and dubbed. The animation's gorgeous. Animating long exposure on the bike lights, top shelf.
Actually, this one particular shot where they're driving into a tunnel, and it's 3 tunnels lined up, and like the shot circulates Twitter and like Tumblr and all that every once in a while, where they show the pencil test, the flats, and then like the final shot, and it's so beautiful, and I will like never forget that shot. It's such an iconic shot.
But gang, thank you so much for watching. Aww, and thank you Danny and Caitlin for joining us, our producers. You guys, the producers they're the ones, they make the magic happen, and so do all of you. So make sure you're sharing this around, inviting your friends to come and join us for the watch-alongs if they want to. There's a special offer going on right now. I've never mentioned it before, and I'll mention it. I'll never mention it again probably. But next week I threw out that I wanted to check out Agrisuko, the Netflix series, Fox. It looks very cute. It's the antithesis a little bit of Akira, I think, arguably. I don't know, though. But also, I want to hear from you guys. You guys have suggested so many amazing properties that we need to check out. Your Name is high on my list. And also, God dang it, I hope we do this long enough that one Studio Ghibli film pops up somewhere.
Somewhere we can watch it.
Kiki's Delivery Service, for the love of Christ. Just throw a Ponyo. I'll watch Ponyo. None of these are bad. I just need one.
Yep.
I want Spirited Away. I really want to watch that one. But hey, we'll get there when we're going to get there. On the Discord, you guys can let us know what you guys are thinking and give us your suggestions. See you next time.